Hey guys, let's do your reading lesson for Thursday, February 4th. So go to Google Classroom and open up today's reading lesson. And the first thing that we are going to do is your daily reading ready. So go ahead and open that up. All right, it says hurricane on the horizon. So first thing we need to do is click our pencil button and put our name on our paper. All right, so first step of your high five reading strategy is what? Underline your title, right? So let's underline that. Hurricane on the horizon. The next thing that we need to do is scan the text. Okay, so I see what over here? An illustration. Okay, and it looks like it's showing, if I see news and a thunderstorm, who do I think that guy is probably? A weatherman, yeah. All right, so now when I scan the rest of my text, I see these. What are these called again? Right, they're your characters. Okay, what about this? Intently. Okay, you may have heard of that word before. You may not have. That's okay. We'll worry about that when we get to it. I see this right here. What is that called? It's not something he's saying. It's something he's doing. What do we call that? It's a stage direction. It tells your character what to do. Okay, so narrator, weatherman, and dad. So those are all of the people who have speaking parts. So now that we have scanned the text, we need to preview the questions. So your first one says, what is the meaning of the word intently in paragraph 1? So we do need to look back, and it's asking me what the meaning of a word is, so vocab. Okay, then I'm going to go to number 2. It says the playwright. Remember, who's a playwright for a play? It's like the author. So author's purpose. So the playwright included paragraph 4 mainly to show, so I do need to look back at paragraph 4 and reread it. And I need to think, why did the author include paragraph 4? Like, what were they trying to show? Okay, now we can go to your second page. The family's reaction, whoops, that was messy. The family's reaction when dad tells them the storm is coming shows that so if that's like a specific part of the story, we probably need to go look back at it and reread to see what the family's reaction was. And it's talking about like, how did they react to something? So that's a character question. Number 2 says, how does the weatherman contribute to the plot of the play? If you don't remember what a plot is, think of it like this. So this is like the beginning of your story. This is the middle, and this is the end. So when you're talking about the plot, you're talking about the things that happen along the way, like during the story, all the big events. So like, how does the weatherman contribute to that? What part does he play in the story, basically? All right, so now let's go back to our story, and it's time to get your highlighter ready because we need to read the text. Hurricane on the horizon. Okay, so if you remember from yesterday, I'm not going to read the character names, and I'm not going to read the stage directions out loud. I'm only going to read the parts, okay? Mom and Dad are watching the news intently. The weatherman has forecast a hurricane for tomorrow night. Be prepared for heavy storms and wind. Although an evacuation won't be necessary, families need to be prepared that power could be knocked out for several days. Dad begins rushing around the house to prepare supplies while Mom is getting ready to go to the store. They tell the kids to come into the living room. Kids, there isn't anything to be afraid of, but there is a bad storm coming. John, I need you to help prepare the house by picking things up outside. Mary, please go to the store with Mom and help her get water, food, and supplies. Everyone rushes to perform their designated job in preparation for the approaching storm. All right, so it sounds like they had a pretty good idea of what to do. It doesn't sound like they were really freaking out. They were taking it seriously, but they weren't freaking out about it, so that's good. Makes me think maybe they live somewhere where a hurricane has happened before, so maybe like they know what to expect. Okay, so number 1 says, what is the meaning of the word intently in paragraph 1? So it says, Mom and Dad are watching the news intently. The weatherman has forecast a hurricane for tomorrow night. So I want you to picture that happening. Like imagine that you're watching this happen. Okay, so picture Mom and Dad sitting on the couch watching the news, and the guy comes on and says there's a hurricane coming. Okay, are they watching the news carelessly? They're like, hurricane, schmurricane, we don't care. Are they watching it sloppily? Can you watch TV in a sloppy way? That doesn't even make sense. They're watching it thoughtlessly. They're like, what was that, hurricane? They're watching it closely. Yeah, for sure. If a hurricane is coming, hopefully you're going to be watching the news closely to make sure nothing like ultra bad is going to happen. So intently means closely. If you do something intently, that means you're like working really hard at it. You're paying a lot of attention to what you're doing. Okay, number 2 says the playwright included paragraph 4 mainly to show. So let's look back at paragraph 4. That's when Dad says, kids, there isn't anything to be afraid of, but there's a bad storm coming. John, I need you to help prepare the house by picking things up outside. Mary, please go to the store with Mom and help her get water, food, and supplies. So what does that paragraph show you? Does it show you that Mom has contacted the local newsmen for weather updates? That never happened at all, especially not in paragraph 4. The weatherman suggests staying in the house until the storm passes. Did you learn that from paragraph 4? No. Everyone needs to be sure there is enough toilet paper and candles. Didn't say that. It says water, food, and supplies. Sure, but that's not the point of paragraph 4, right? Dad is serious about everyone helping to prepare the hurricane. Remember up there in paragraph 4, it said that Dad said that in a serious tone? And he said that he wanted like the kids to help, John's helping, Mary's helping, Mom is helping. So everybody is going to be helping. So yeah, I would say that D is a pretty good answer. He's serious and he wants everyone to help. Everyone has a job. All right, let's go to your next page. It says the family's reaction when Dad tells them the storm is coming shows that they... Okay. So, Dad told them all those things to do. That's paragraph 4 that we just read. And then their reaction was that everyone rushes to perform their designated job in preparation for the approaching storm. So what does that show us about the family? That they really don't think the storm will be that bad? I mean, it may not be that bad, but if they thought that, would they be like rushing around trying to get things done? Probably not. They're taking what he told them seriously. Yeah, I would say so. They got up and they started doing what he asked them to. They're frantically doing what Dad told them to do. If you're frantic, it means you're kind of like running around panicking. So was everybody doing that? No, they weren't panicking. Frantically isn't the right word there. They decided to do something else instead. John's like, nah, I don't feel like doing that. I'm gonna go play video games. Nope. They did what he told them to do because they know that if they don't, they're not going to be prepared. Okay, last one says, how does the weatherman contribute to the plot of the play? So, what's his role in this? Why did he need to be in the play? He tries to panic his viewers into preparing for the tornado. Was he like, everybody freak out, there's a tornado coming? Well, number 1, it's a hurricane, not a tornado. And number 2, he said, like, be prepared for heavy storms and wind, but that's not, like, panic-worthy. So, no, I would say that they're not I would say that they're not usually trying to panic people. What's happening? Won't let me zoom out. Oh my iPad's freaking out. Uno momento. I'm going to try to save it and see if that works. It may not. Oh, great. It didn't save any of my work. It's fine. Hopefully you have yours. That's okay. That happens sometimes. Okay, so how does the weatherman contribute to the plot of the play? Remember, that was like this. You had your different things on there, the different parts of it, beginning, middle, and end. Okay, why is the playwright in there? I mean, the weatherman, sorry. He tries to panic his viewers. No, and there's no tornado. He helps the family know exactly what to buy at the store. Did he? Did he say, like, here's a list. You're going to need toilet paper, candles, extra batteries, flashlight? Nope. He didn't tell you what to buy for the storm. He just said be prepared because the power might go out. His words convinced the family to prepare for the upcoming weather. Yeah? Okay. He makes the family buy batteries, food, and water. He's like, you need to get to the store and you have to buy this stuff. No. So by hearing his words and by hearing him warn them about the storm, they were like, oh yeah, we probably should make some preparations. We need to get the house ready and get what we need. Okay? So the bottom says, write a short summary of the drama above. Write in complete sentences. So remember that when you're doing a summary, you need something from the beginning and middle and end, because you're kind of like putting it all together in a quick little teaser. And you only need the important stuff. Okay, so let's see. What happened in the beginning? What news did they hear? They heard that a hurricane was coming. So the family heard a hurricane was coming. Heard from the news. Maybe we'll add that. You don't have to write this. You can just watch. So you can leave this bottom part blank on yours. Okay, so what did they do? What did they do in the middle and the end? So they made sure they were prepared for the storm. All right, so now that I'm done, I need to go back and I need to make sure that I started with a capital, I ended with punctuation, and I need to make sure it makes sense. The family heard from the news that a hurricane was coming, so they made sure, oh, see, look, if I didn't read it, I wouldn't have noticed that I left out a word here. So they made sure they were prepared for the storm. So you gotta proofread your work, make sure it makes sense. All right, and then the front says, why does the playwright include a narrator in this drama? So let's just talk about that for a minute. You don't have to write anything, but why did we need a narrator here? I want you to picture something. Don't do this on yours, just imagine with me, okay? I'm going to scribble out the narrator's parts. We're going to pretend that the narrator doesn't exist. So, narrator doesn't exist anymore. This is the first time you've heard this play. All you hear is, be prepared for heavy storms and wind. Although an evacuation won't be necessary, families need to be prepared that power could be knocked out for several days. Kids, there isn't anything to be afraid of, but there is a bad storm coming. John, I need you to help prepare the house by picking things up outside. Mary, please go to the store with Mom and help her get water, food, and supplies. Okay, well, we're missing some action. All that we have heard is what was said, okay? So, like, if I erase this top part, that's the part where I learned, like, who in the world is talking, what's happening. Like, if I didn't have that first part, I wouldn't have even known there was a hurricane, because the weatherman just said heavy storms and wind. So without that first part that the narrator said, I wouldn't have even known a hurricane was happening, and I wouldn't have known Mom was even a part of this play at all. Okay? If I look at the second part that the narrator said, that's when he told me that Dad was rushing around the house and Mom was getting ready to go to the store, and they tell the kids to come in there. If they'd never told the kids to come in there, they couldn't have been talking to them. So that's some important action that happened as well. And in the last part, that's when we learn that everybody takes Dad seriously and they start doing what he asked. So if I didn't have the narrator, I wouldn't know anything that my characters are doing. So that's why we have a narrator, to show action from our characters. All right, so you can do save. And then go ahead and turn in. You know, mine doesn't like to save when I make these videos. It's fine, as long as yours works. Okay, the next thing that you guys need to do today, what is this? Okay, you need the test that looks like this at the top. The country mouse and the city mouse. Okay, so I'm going to be reading that to you. So go ahead, and Miss Partney is going to pass that out for you. And let me see if I can find it. Go ahead and put your name and your number on it. Okay, I'm not going to be writing on this. I'm just reading it out loud for you. So you have to make sure that as you go through, that you show your work on it. Okay, maybe it's in this. I can't remember. Nope, not that. Give me just a minute. I thought I had this pulled up. That's okay. It's probably giving you guys time to pass it out. So it's getting really dark in here. Let me turn the light on too while I wait for that. Maybe it'll pull up someday. There we go. All right. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So, first thing you need to do, make sure your name is on your paper. Do that right now. Okay. All right. This says the country mouse and the city mouse. So make sure, just like we just practiced, the first step of your high five reading strategies is underline the title. So go ahead and underline your title. It says this was adapted from Aesop's Fable by Carrie Carter. That means it was somebody else's story, and she kind of took it and told her own version of it. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is scan the text. So I see Act 1, Scene 1. So that, remember, that's like your first chapter. And the setting says, inside a shabby country home with a fireplace and simple furniture. Okay, I also see some characters. I see some stage directions. I'll give you guys a minute to label a couple of those. Remember, you don't have to label every single time it says a character or a stage direction. Really, I just want you to notice that it has those things. Because if you highlight every single one of those or like put a box around it, it's going to look crazy. Okay, I see a scene change right here, scene 2, and a new setting. I didn't see any underlined words. Okay, so that's it for scanning the text. So next you need to preview your questions. So I'm going to read them to you, so it's your job to go through and mark what you need to mark on your questions. Remember, we're not answering them yet. We're just doing your high five reading strategy, and then we'll go back and read the story. It says, from the play, you can tell that Country Mouse. So from the play, think about what you need to do when it says that. And it's asking you about a character. Okay, number 2 says, find one line of dialogue and one stage direction from the play that supports your understanding of Country Mouse's character. So basically, when we get to that one, it just wants you to prove your answer to number 1. I'll help you when we get to that. Number 3 says, from the play, you can tell that City Mouse. So again, from the play, what does that mean that you should do? And City Mouse is a character. And number 4 is basically going to have you prove your answer for number 3, just like you did on the first one. So we're not there yet. Don't worry about it yet. Look at number 5. Which one shows an example of a stage direction from the play? Number 6 says, where is the setting in scene 2? Find evidence in the text and color it yellow. Remember, if it's talking about a certain part, like scene 2, you need to look back. Number 7 says, which answer shows a line of dialogue from the play? Number 8, why does the playwright include a narrator in this play? Why does the playwright? Remember, your playwright is like your author, so what kind of question is this? Number 9 says, read the following stage directions. These stage directions were included to show that Country Mouse, so it's asking you about Country Mouse, so what kind of question is it? Number 10 says, Country Mouse's last line in the play, the last line, so you need to look back, shows that she would rather, and it's asking you about Country Mouse. So what kind of question? Number 11 says, on the stage, draw a picture of the setting in scene 1. So we're not going to do that yet. We'll do that at the end. And then number 12 wants you to color the playwright's name green. Okay, so if you haven't noticed, you're going to need some colors, okay? So take a second and get out your twisty colors or a marker. It's up to you. I don't care what you use, just get out something colorful. You also need your highlighter, just like always. You know what? Actually, pause. Please don't highlight on this one because you're going to be adding color and that would be kind of confusing. So don't highlight on this one. Capiche? Okay, follow along with me while we read, okay? It says, The Country Mouse and the City Mouse, adapted from Aesop's Fable by Carrie Carter. That's important. You should put a star by it. Act 1, Scene 1. Inside a shabby country home with a fireplace and simple furniture. That's important. You should put a star by it. Okay, so if you remember, I'm not going to say your character names. I'm just going to change voices every time, okay? Now, since there's a lot of stage directions in this one, if it's a long one, I may say it quietly just so you can still follow along with me. But I'm just going to pretend like it's a real play, okay? Country Mouse is excited because her cousin, City Mouse, is coming to visit her. Country Mouse runs around busily setting out bowls and getting a pot from the fire. Oh, everything must be perfect when my cousin arrives. I hope she's pleased with my little home and simple meal. As Country Mouse sets the table, she hears a knock at the door. Come in! City Mouse walks in, wearing her finest dress and looking upset. Cousin, I'm so happy to see you. I hope you had a good trip. Oh, it was awful. I'm so dusty and hot. I simply don't know how you can stand the dirt out here in the country. Oh, I never noticed it. I guess I'm always too busy admiring the flowers and enjoying the sunshine. Handing Country Mouse her suitcase. I'm simply starving. Is it time for dinner? Oh, yes, dinner is ready. I've made fresh soup and bread. I even found an apple for dessert. How nice and simple. Please, cousin, sit down right here in my best chair. Thank you, cousin. Eat as much as you want. This will be such a feast. Truly, cousin, you have to get out more if you think this is a feast. You need to come visit me in the city. Okay, so now we start a new scene. So now we're inside City Mouse's fancy home with pretty furniture and crystal dishes. 2 days later, City Mouse has convinced her cousin to visit her in the city to show her all that she has been missing in her simple country life. Oh, cousin, your home is so beautiful. You have so many nice things. Yes, the country really cannot compare to the city. Your table is so beautiful. Can I help you set out the food for dinner? Do we need to go out to the garden? Garden? Of course not. We will eat the finest dinner and not prepare one bit of it. Just look through there. Points to the doorway across the room. Oh my, that is the most food I have ever seen in one place. There's pies, cakes, nuts, roasted vegetables, and things I've never ever seen before. Yes, it's all ours for the taking. Just grab your plate and we'll go serve ourselves. We just have to watch out for the cat. The cat? What do you mean? Well, the owner of the house has a fat cat that sleeps on the other side of the table. If we time it just right, we'll grab our food and be back in here before he wakes up. But what if he wakes up? Well, we might have to run under the sofa until he goes back to his bed. I've never been trapped for more than a few hours, though. No thanks, cousin. I'm happy with my simple meals in my simple house, with no cat. Whoops. Wrong button. All right, so let's go ahead and do our questions now. It says, from the play, you can tell that Country Mouse is rude and unkind, is friendly and kind, wishes she lived in the city, is unhappy with her life. Remember, we're talking about Country Mouse. Which one is true about Country Mouse? Okay, once you know your answer, number 2 says to take your blue crayon marker, whatever you have, and find one line of dialogue and one stage direction from the play that supports your understanding of Country Mouse's character. Okay, so for example, if you had said that Country Mouse is funny and smart, you would go back in your story and you would find one line of dialogue, that's a talking part, and one stage direction that tells me that she's funny and smart. Now, I know that's not an answer choice, so whatever answer you picked, you're going to take your blue and you're going to go back into the story and find one line of dialogue and one stage direction that proves your answer about Country Mouse. Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to do that. If you need a second, hit pause, and then you can keep going. Okay, if you're ready, move on with me. If you're not, you need to pause and finish number 2. Number 3. From the play, you can tell that City Mouse was the one that talked like this. Make sure you're thinking of the right one. City Mouse is caring and nice, thinks she is better than her cousin, does not like her cousin, is unhappy with her life. Okay, so once you know your answer for number 3, you're going to take your red crayon marker, matte pencil, whatever, and you're going to go back in your story and you are going to find one line of dialogue and one stage direction that proves your answer about City Mouse. Okay, so you should have 2 things that are red. You should have 2 things that are blue for Country Mouse and 2 things that are red for City Mouse that shows your answer. Like, that shows why you think that about them. Okay, if you need more time, hit pause, and when you're done, you can unpause. Number 5. Which one shows an example of a stage direction from the play? So think in your head, what is a stage direction? Got it? Okay, so here's your answer choices. Pick one that is a stage direction. How nice and simple. Come in! What do you mean? Pointing to the chair. Number 6, where is the setting in scene 2? Okay, pause. Before you choose an answer choice, I want you to go back with a yellow crayon marker or matte pencil. Go back and find the setting of scene 2. Go find it with your yellow. The setting of scene 2. Okay, when you found it and you got it colored yellow, which one of these answer choices is the setting of scene 2? Country Mouse's house, on a farm, City Mouse's house, or in the woods? So you have to answer that one and show me your proof with a yellow. Okay, number 7. Which answer shows a line of dialogue from the play? Handing Country Mouse her suitcase. Inside a shabby country home with a fireplace and simple furniture. Eat as much as you want. Walking into the room with eyes wide. Number 8. Why does the playwright, remember that's like your author, why does the playwright include a narrator in this play? To help you understand what the characters are thinking, to help you understand the setting, to make you laugh, to help the characters solve their problems. Basically, what's the narrator's job? Number 9. Read the following stage directions. Country Mouse runs around busily setting out bowls and getting a pot from the fire. These stage directions were included to show that Country Mouse is excited, is bored, is disappointed, is worried. Okay, I know you probably are excited to do number 11, but I want you to not do that one yet. Skip to number 12 so you don't forget it, okay? So number 12, take your green crayon, matte pencil, marker, whatever. Take your green and go color the playwright's name. Who wrote the play? Here's a hint. It's the only name at the very top, okay? Go find who wrote the play. I told you to put a star by it because it was important. Color that green. Okay, so now that you've done all of the other ones, they all have to be done before you can do number 11. Now for number 11, you can draw a picture of the setting in scene 1. But before you draw your picture, you should probably go back to scene 1 and read the setting. Okay? That way you know you're doing the right one. Okay, so now you're going to go back. And on the little stage right there, you're going to draw the setting that it just described. And then when you're done, you can turn it into Miss Partney. Okay, whatever time you have left when everyone is finished, you can, well, where did it go? Oh, it says you can read a script together in class. So there's a Christmas script in here. And it's got parts for 22 people, I think. Yeah, 22 students. There's 23 of you, so if everybody's in here right now, you may have to share or something. Or if there's somebody, Haley, who doesn't want to read in front of people, then you don't have to read, okay? So you're going to read that together. And when you're done, hit turn in so that I can make sure I get your daily reading ready and give your test to Miss Partney.